Okay, I'm going to go over some Dreamweaver basics. Today we'll call this a warm-up. So what I mean by that is just like when you exercise, you need to warm up first. Well, here we're going to do some quick things to get you started inside of Dreamweaver. And as you are working through Dreamweaver, think about the concepts I explained right now, and we'll then go into the book. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do for this warm-up will be to make a folder on the desktop. So to make a folder on the desktop, I'm using a Windows computer, but of course you could use a Mac computer wherever you want. And I can right click and I'm going to say new folder, and I'm going to call it Dreamweaver. Okay, 1, how about that? Then I'm going to put some things in there. One of the things I want to put in my folder might be a picture. So I'm just going to go to the internet and steal a photo. Any photo you want to steal is fine. I just want to show you how to import pictures into Dreamweaver. So I'm just going to go to the Google and then go to images. And of course it's springtime, so we're going to type in flowers. Nice time for flowers. And we'll find our favorite flowers. I always like this one right here. It's a little big though. It's 640 by 480. That's a pretty large picture. So one of the things you need to start thinking about as you are building web pages and working on the computer, when we're making things inside of Dreamweaver, we're making things for the screen, and the screen is the computer screen, and the computer screen's measured on pixels. And so when we put things on our web page, we need to be careful of what the size is, because we don't want it to be so big that it takes up the whole page. Let's see this one over here. Yeah, 300 by 300 is a good size. This will be easier and more manageable to put on our page. So if I get this picture, I can click on it. It'll take me to the page, and then I can right click on it. So I'm going to right click and save image as. Again, I'm using the Firefox browser. And in the Firefox browser, it has save image as. You can also copy the image and paste it in Photoshop and things like that. But right now I'm just going to right click and save image as, and then I'm going to go to my desktop and I'm going to put it in my folder. I think we called it Dreamweaver 1. So I'm going to save that, stole that picture, and I'm going to save it in there. Okay. So after I've done that, I am going to go and open up the Dreamweaver application. Maybe I'll leave the browser running a little bit here. I'm going to go back and just minimize it. So minimizes that little line at the top of the browser to make it kind of go down to my bottom of my toolbar here. Next I'm going to open up Dreamweaver, and I'm using Dreamweaver CS5. Hopefully I have it here. There it is. And again, just work through the application the first week. Practice some of the things that are in chapter 1, 2, and 3 of the book. The most important is that you get your hands into the application a little bit, practicing. So in this warm-up right now, I'm just going to do some basic things that you can practice to learn about Dreamweaver. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do the define site. In the book there's a chapter all about how to define site. That's in where you go underneath site, new site, new site. And I'm going to give, this is our class warm-up. Then I'm going to go where it says local site folder here. So give your site a name. Then where it says local site folder, we're going to hit the folder here. And I'm going to go to the desktop. And I'm going to choose my Dreamweaver 1 folder. And I'm going to hit open. And then select. And then save. On the Mac, it might be a little bit different. Instead of select, it'll say choose. So in this case, again, the application, the first couple chapters in the book and things like that talk about how to move windows around. There's a lot of pop-up windows. The ones we'll be using most will be the properties window, and so those I kind of float around. The files window I don't need right yet, so I'm going to put it over here. They tend to kind of be stuck over here, and that's just the way that the applications work. You can always get to a window by going under here, window, and again we're going to be using the probably styles window a little bit, and you see how it pops out. And if you want to move windows around, you could just click on the name of the window and just move it around like this. If you want to put it back over there, you can jam it back over there if you want, or you can click on it there. So you just kind of have to get used to how the interface works. It's a little goofy. as far as everything having to be stuck over here, but that's just the way it works. In this case, most of the things that we'll do in this class would be by making new files. So I'm going to make a new page by going under File, New. In this case, I'm going to use the plain blank HTML, and none of these are pre-made ones, and the book goes over how to do all the pre-made ones. But for this warm-up, I'm just going to use a blank page, HTML and none, and I'm going to hit Create. Now your window might look a little bit different than mine. It just depends on the options that are being displayed. One of the first things you would really want to do whenever you make a web page is give it a title up here, not just saving the name. This is the title of a web page. If you think about it, if you go in and you're searching the internet, again, I'm going to bring up Google here. If I go back to my Google here and I type in web pages for flowers and I search, you'll see I get a bunch of web pages. Of course, these ones are paid up here, but down here in the organic, it looks like organic links down here. You see you have a blue link right here, and then you have a yellow one, which is the domain name, or a green one, which is the domain name. Then you have, this is called the description tag. So the title is this link inside of Google. So you always want to make sure in Dreamweaver, you'll notice it says untitled up here. So you might want to give that a title. I might just put in my name. That way it shows up in Google. That's the title tag right here. Next thing you'll notice whenever you're working inside of Dreamweaver would be how to save your file. So the first thing I want to do is save it by going under File, Save As, and then I'm going to give it a name. The first page of all websites should be called Index, I-N-D-E-X, and then hit Save. Next thing I want to go over is how to view your code as you're working. So Dreamweaver is a HTML editor, and so when you're working in the design view right here, you don't see the HTML that it's building for you. But if you go in a split view, you'll see that it gives you some HTML right there, and then it shows you design view, and then you have total code view, which is all code. You can work in either one of these modes, and they give you the opportunity to do that. So even if I'm in code view here and I can type things into the body, I like flowers. And if you look in the design view, you'll see I have text that says I like flowers. So in doing so, you can have either one of these views as you are working. In addition, I'm going to add my picture in there because I like flowers here. So I'm going to hit the Enter key, which gives me what's called a P tag. So if I'm in design view and I hit the Enter key, and I look back in the code view, you'll see it put a P for paragraph. That's sort of a line break there that you got. And since my cursor then is flashing underneath the words flowers here, I can put my flower in. To put anything usually into the Dreamweaver application, we use the insert window. And the thing I'm going to put is insert image. And then I'm going to choose my flower. I'm going to hit OK. And it's going to ask me for accessibility tags. You should give it a description of what the picture is. And so I'm going to put in flowers, and I'm going to hit OK, and it puts my flowers in. Again, it's 300 by 300 pixels, so as we start working inside of Dreamweaver, you'll have to get used to using pixels and things like that. Let me pause this video and I'll start again.